Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the business side of things and what the impact has then been, again, on the EdTech world of unicorns in China over this last decade and a half, and the implications for the rest of the world that's either trying to serve that Chinese market or more likely maybe the beneficiary of the vacuum that's created with those companies having to pivot, or maybe they'll start to take over the education sectors outside of China because the opportunities are greater there. So let's start to talk about that. Andrew, maybe I could start with you, your perspective on what's happened to the EdTech markets in China.
Thank you. If I knew the answer, my friend of those big tech companies will be very happy. Nobody knows. Yeah. This is not, as the Professor Zhao said, this is not just a change in policy. This is a total revolution. This is a shutdown of a whole industry. I know like VIP Kids and other companies, they actually created a lot of job opportunities for those English-speaking countries' teachers. But since it's government policy, and now the central government have this policy, now different local government have their own policy. So if you want to do something legit, no sizable company is legal. So I think this market will be gone for at least the next 2-3 years or so. So this is a big change.
You can see some early examples of the pivot, right? VIP Kids is now advertising for adult learners. They're now trying to offer classes that are bilingual on heritage topics. Zebra English has pivoted to an app that's AI. You know, TAL is offering calligraphy. New Oriental is promoting parent and family education. If they get out of the core subjects and they're able to attract students, you know, they then are going to be under a different regulatory environment. You know, so the question is, what part of their business becomes nonprofit and what's for profit? Some of these firms, I think, are going to become major providers to the public sector because all of these government schools that now have to do after-school programs need content and they need help. And some of the regulations speak to how these firms, as nonprofits, can compete for what happens in that after-school space. They're nonprofits if it's core subjects, but they can be for-profits if it's extra types of classes, arts, music, enrichment, and serving the public sector who serves all students. So the pivot is going to be really interesting to see which firms survive and in what type of entity they exist.
Professor Zhao, you have any insights into what's happening in EdTech there and the implications around the world?
Well, I mean, I think what you heard is right. Short term, I don't think EdTech in China, you know, can do much. But I'm actually was wondering, given what Charlie was talking about on social media, what if you set up a company outside China and parents sign up on that? You know, you got credit card, you got PayPal, you got all the other things. That's another huge possibility because you cannot crack down a company, you know, that's based on the, you know, in the US or in Australia or in the UK. But parents sign on to that. You know, maybe more difficult, you know, for people to find out, but you know how words, you know, kind of news passes around. So that's another possibility. And there's no reason to say that won't happen. That could happen. That may be happening right now, you know. We just don't know yet, you know. Another thing is I think really has to do with when people talk about the demand. Do you remember, I think everybody should know, going to college is practically the only way for social mobility for millions of children. You know, that's the only way. And if you don't go, your chances is not good. And also in the Chinese, I mean, I should say this, not only China, really, you should think of East Asian Confucius culture. Getting a college degree is much more important socially, financially, for everybody. So no matter what you do, remember actually the old traditional Chinese culture, I was doing some research on this. Even though you are very wealthy and rich, you still want to buy a degree, something, buy a Keji, buy an imperial exam, something like that. So that is not going away. But that need can be directed in any way the government wants. Because the majority of the Chinese parents follow what makes them socially mobile. So that policy can, if you say, okay, we'll test only this, then boom, we'll do that. So in many ways, China does not have education. China has test preparation. If you have a test and a test leads to something, boom, we'll go for it. That's actually happening. I was in Japan, Korea, Singapore. It's the same thing. It's not only China. It's a culturally rooted. It's not genuine education about exploration, about growth of yourself. It's about passing the test. So whatever you do to help me pass the test that matters, I'll go for it.